Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to the Popternative Podcast, the podcast and talk show where we have digital discussions for the worlds of TV, film, pop culture, news, sports, lifestyle, video games, music, everything really depending on the guest. We talk about it all. As always, I'm your host, Peter Remoliotis. On social media, you know me as PD Beats. My guest is storyteller, actor, voice actor. He is recently in Netflix's The Queen's Gambit. Does a lot of other really cool things too. Ryan Wichert is with us. Ryan, welcome to Popternative.
Hey, Peter, how you doing? Hi, guys.
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for doing this, man. I'm really happy we were able to finally, we wanted to do this for a while, so I'm happy we were able to finally get this done.
Yeah, it's kind of weird considering we're in the middle of lockdown. Like, we didn't really have anywhere to go, but for some reason it's taken us a couple of weeks to find a date that worked for both of us.
But here we are, man. Patience is a virtue, so we're here. Yeah. We're ready to go. I kind of said, you're an actor, voice actor, storyteller. I always like to call, anyone who kind of creates art and kind of works in the craft of art and acting and drama, you're all storytellers. So for you specifically, when did you decide that storytelling was something you wanted to do?
Well, I basically failed at everything else. And that was, I think I was about 12 or 13. And I was at school, and my best friend was in the he was in the sort of amateur dramatics drama group, and he got ill. He couldn't, and they were about to do a show. He got ill, and so he had to pull out. And he, being my best friend, he phoned me and gave me a call and asked me whether I could jump in and take over. I'd never done anything like this before, and so I was like, "Oh wow, I don't know. What do I do?" And he sort of just said, "Well, you just learn the lines, and you put on this costume, and you hop on stage, and you wave your arms, and people clap." And that sounded like a very good thing to do. And so I did that, and then I loved it. I completely fell in love with acting, with storytelling, and there was nothing else that sort of rivaled that. There was never any. I mean, like, everybody's got different passions, but there was never anything where I was like, "Oh, that's a serious alternative." I was hooked.
Absolutely. Was there kind of a genre or a type of storytelling that you were driven towards more than others, or was it kind of just in general the love of the craft?
I think a good story is a good story is a good story, but I do have a heart for comedy.
Yeah.
Or lighthearted stories. I think comedy and it's such a brilliant vehicle to tell a story through and to sort of connect with an audience and open a door and tell a story. So I think comedy is a great thing. I love watching comedies. I love laughing. I think it keeps you young, keeps you healthy, and so comedy has a lot of health benefits.
And I see the Jim Carrey. There's the Jim Carrey poster in the background, I believe. Yeah. I just gotta say, every time I can, Canada. I'm Canadian, so shout out to Canada, which is awesome. Exciting thing for you recently is you got to be in. They're saying one of the biggest miniseries of all time on Netflix. You got to be in The Queen's Gambit, which was just phenomenal from episode 1 to the end. Just an unbelievable experience for the viewer. What was that kind of like, being involved with what people are kind of calling right now, Ryan, like a phenomenon? Like, it is huge.
It was it was unbelievable. It was the amount of detail that went into this series, and the amount of passion and love, and that was you could feel it on set. Like, everybody was working to make this a phenomenal series, and everybody was paying attention to the details and to the moves, to the right costume, the right this, the right that. So everybody really got behind the story, and I think nobody expected it to blow up the way it did. Like, obviously, it being on Netflix, you're going to anticipate some form of, like, I mean, people are going to watch it, but nobody that I spoke to anticipated this level of love and of this incredible reception that the series has experienced. And I mean, for me personally, the amount of messages that you receive on social media, people sharing their love for chess, connecting on that level, it's phenomenal.
It's pretty cool to see too that, obviously, there's a lot of people that play chess. There's a lot of people that have played chess. But when you think of like things that are in the public eye a lot, right, in terms of hobbies, you don't think of chess being one of them. And this kind of showed the world of chess, which is something we didn't really kind of know that much about when you think about it too.
Yeah, absolutely. Even if you have a look at like the amount of new memberships on chess.com, the amount of Google searches that I think it's quadrupled or something ridiculous like that since the series launched. So a lot of that stuff. But yeah, you're absolutely right. When you think of chess, we all know that chess exists, but it's not something you practice in your everyday life. It's not something you don't invite people over and go, "Oh, do you want to play some chess?" But since the Queen's Gambit launched, it is. People are meeting up for chess. They're downloading the apps. It's become more and more popular, which is phenomenal. It's great.
It's great. And I have to tell you, you had a nice, really cool role in the series. I really enjoyed your role. I really enjoyed that storyline where you guys are basically helping, her pave the way to being one of the best. Your training and everything. I just love that whole storyline. Was fantastic. I loved it.
Yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it? It's kind of like that circle of friends around Beth, and we're gonna go and help her. It kind of got destroyed at speed chess, which was just less fun. I think she took on everyone and just destroyed all of us.
Yeah, I mean, and it's funny because it's something I've noticed as well, Ryan, which I find interesting, is you all start as her competitors, right? Like everyone who's kind of helping her was beaten by her, you know what I mean? Or like has come across her. And there's a little bit of like standoffishness from these characters to Beth, right? Because they're competitors, they're competing. But yours is not as much. Like you're kind of like a bit quiet, and you're kind of she beats you, and that's it, right? But there's not as much like sass or kind of attitude I find like with your characters compared to like the twins and the other. You know what I mean? Like I find that interesting dynamic too.
Yeah, it's great that you picked up on this. This is with Hilton Wexler. He's really into these chess problems and sort of like solving these. And so when he walks in and he sees the board is set up in a certain way, I think he's immediately into that. And he just wants to see how good Beth is. Yeah. All these different things about her, and he just wants to see if she can solve his favorite little chess problem.
And one thing I've noticed the series does a really good thing is you see all these characters that struggle with a lot of, addiction, a lot of problems, and have a really tough upbringing. And like Beth, has gone through so much stuff. And deep down, though, she is pure. She is sweet. She just loves chess. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of like malicious things. Like when she beats you guys, she doesn't rub it in your face. She's not malicious. You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean by that? Like I think the series does a good job of showing that this is someone who just loves the game of chess.
Yeah, absolutely. The series, it really places that sort of the power of chess at the very center, and all the other things that like all these obstacles around her, but she successfully manages to, she gets through all of them, doesn't she? And and that is just this ultimate motor within her, like this love of chess, that what it unlocks for her and for her personality, and it kind of gives her a world to exist in.
Absolutely. And you are actually part of my favorite scene and moment of the whole series, that phone call that you guys get when she beats Borgov. I just love that whole scene. So I just need to know, like, what was that like filming that sequence? Was it just kind of like any other scene? But like, there was a lot of emotion in that scene to begin with.
It was a very loud day on set. Let's put it that way. There was a lot of, I think everybody got to hug everybody. We tried different constellations of hugs. Who can hug who? And it was great. It's just pure adrenaline, isn't it? That moment. It's
he turns and just like nods with a little smile, right? And like not even saying like she won, just kind of turns like you're all. I love it. It's so great.
Yeah. It's really cool. It's great because like you just want to give the audience that, because you know that at that point in the story, you know the build up, you know where we're all at in the story and how we're rooting for Beth. And so if you can unlock that, and if you can give the audience that sort of that big payoff, I think that is brilliant.
That's a perfect way of saying it. That whole scene is like the payoff of everything, like the trading and the love of the chess, that whole thing. Because like all your characters, including your characters, you said with the board, I mean, there's this just love for the game. Like every single person that she plays, like loves, even Borgov, you know what I mean? You see moments where Borgov, you know, he's in Russia and everyone's serious about it, the spies and everything. He loves the game of chess. You know what I mean? He loves the craft of it. You know what I mean?
It's really interesting that you're saying this, because it's exactly it. That everybody's got a different take on chess. Everybody's got a sort of different aspect that they appreciate and they love about this. So, for instance, with Hilton, it's more about the chess problems, and it's more of a nerdy sort of approach to the whole thing. But and then Borgov has got this very strong sort of approach to the whole thing. Beth has got a very new and very flexible and very intuitive sort of approach to it. And so everybody's got a different version of chess that they play. But what unites them is the love for the game. That is bigger than anything.
Absolutely. Aside from obviously Queen's Gambit, you know, you've worked in the video game industry as well. You've lent your voice to a lot of really cool projects. What do you kind of enjoy the most about kind of working in the video game world, Ryan? I mean, obviously this is a world that kind of grows. It seems like every year or bigger games come out. The games are bigger, the games are better, the concepts are great. It's just insane. What do you kind of like about that landscape?
The best thing is I can go into the sound studio wearing my tracksuit. That's the best. I'll be very honest. It's a perfect job.
Yeah, it's true. But it's just amazing how it's grown over the years.
It is, absolutely. One of the best things is, as an actor, as a voice actor, you the absolute freedom of you can play whatever. Like, people are going to ring you and they're going to ask you, do you want to play, I don't know, do you want to play a zebra? And you're like, yeah, sure, I'll play a zebra. All right, so it's a really happy zebra. I'll play a happy zebra. All right, do you want to play a sad dog? Yeah, I'll do that. What about this? It's a fish. Can you play a fish? Yeah, I can play a fish. So this huge range of bonkers characters and the worlds that are created for you to be part of. And I think that is something that resonates with every creative, every storyteller, is that if you've got that, if it's a film or a series, you've got a script but with video games, you've got this virtual world that somebody has created, and if you can be part of that and still tell a story, plus it's so much fun, you know.
Oh, yeah.
You're in the studio and it's such a relaxed atmosphere. Everybody is just there to have a lot of fun, and of course you want to get the work done, but it's brilliant because you can try things out. No idea it's too big. Nobody's going to laugh at you for sort of like, I don't know, like trying a funny little voice for a character, and like you do that, and they're like, oh yeah, that's cool. And so it's brilliant to work in that environment.
And we were talking, you know, before this, you have you've done a lot of projects in the video game world, but specifically there's a recent project you kind of lent your voice to that is a really cool video game that you're really proud of as well, that we talked about. Can you talk a little bit about that project? Because that's just a bunch of fun, just a lot of fun overall, that game.
Yeah, I really love it. It's called Say No More, and it's a know them up. It's a one-button game, and it's about the valuable meaning of the word no. So it's all about this intern who works in a company surrounded by very nasty characters. Yep. And everybody wants something. Everybody comes up to this intern, is like, well, make me a coffee, or bring me some documents, or do this, do that, or jump out the window. And the only way to get through this game is by saying no. And so it's all about, and what I love so much about it is not only is it a lot of fun, and it's got this retro sort of approach. And
I was about to say the feel is very retro.
It is very much, yeah. And it's a one-button game, so it's pretty simple. But the deeper meaning underneath, of course, is about the power of saying no
Absolutely.
and standing your ground. And I voiced about, I think, 20 different characters in this thing.
Wow.
Yeah. The main character is the manager in the office, but we voiced so many different little characters along the way that yeah, I can't wait for it to come out. The feedback has been great. I've seen the game. I've not had a chance to play it myself yet, but I'm really looking forward to it.
Is it going to be like on PC? Like, where's it going to be available to play?
Yeah. It's going to be available on multiple different platforms. I think they've just expanded and they've sort of like adapted the plans for that. But yeah, it's definitely going to be available on PC.
That's amazing. I'm like, you told me about that, and I was looking into it a little bit more, and it's just like, because you have to understand, like, obviously with the lockdown and the pandemic, gatherings have been kind of axed, and we haven't been able to see a lot of people. But it's funny because I feel like I'm like, turning 30 like soon, and I find I kind of hit a wall when I was like 23, 24 in terms of like I didn't want to go out and go out for drinks with my friends and party and everything. I just kind of hit a wall where I just want to go to my friend's house and just kind of have some snacks and just play some video games. You know what I mean? So like that, like I just saw that game and I was like, that's definitely a game that me and my squad would play after the pandemic. You know what I mean? Like a fun game, like a party unique game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to watch it afterwards. You're just going to be running around and saying no to everybody. It's probably going to get into that mindset of if anybody comes up to you, it's like, Peter, could you do me a favor? No. Into a naysayer.
I know, it is crazy. Ryan, thank you so much for joining me on Popternative. I really enjoyed this.
Peter, this was great. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. So plug away. I mean, people could still watch Queen's Gambit right now on Netflix, and the video game will come out soon. They'll keep an eye out that. And where can people follow you on social media as well?
Absolutely, yeah. That'd be great. Keep an eye out for Say No More. That's the one-button game, Queen's Gambit. If you haven't seen it, it is a phenomenal series. Whether you like chess or you think, I can't stand chess, it's a phenomenal story. It's definitely worth a watch. So check it out.
And where can people follow you on social media to keep up to date with everything?
It's probably best is probably Instagram. So it's my handle is Ryan Wichert, and that's probably the best place to follow me.
Amazing, man. Well, seriously, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Peter.
No problem. Well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. Until next time, this is Ryan Wichert and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.